For the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Lewis, you can leave the room.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our veterans. And for the invocation this evening, my son.
Well, before I start, let's think about where we are. This is the last board meeting before July 4th, as we celebrate our 250 years as a nation. Let's thank God for what we have as a nation. All the freedoms we have, the blessings we've had. And even though we don't agree on everything, we're still Americans, and we still care about our nation. Let's look to the Lord in prayer. Father, as we celebrate our 250 years, Father, of being an independent nation, we ask, Father, your blessing upon our nation, upon our president, all those in Congress, state level, county level, town level, and village level officials. They're all elected. Father, I pray, Father, that our officials will have ears to hear what the people have to say. You may not agree, but Father God, we want things done here decently in order for the protection of our residents, that Father, our residents will be protected. And Father God, because things are not good, there's a lot of violence out there. And Father, we're asking, Lord, that you bring this nation back together and you would bless it. Bless our troops, bless our police and fire and first responders. And Father, bless this evening, we ask. We ask in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated.
Councilmember Barbara Bukowski. Here. Councilmember Monica Eldricken. Here. Councilmember Tiffany Lewis. Present. Councilmember Stephen Nowicki is excused. Councilmember Brian Pilarski.
Present.
Councilmember Vernon Thompson.
Here.
Supervisor Brian Nowak.
Present.
We have 6 present tonight.
That I want to welcome everybody to the June 24th meeting of the Cheektowaga Town Board. Our first order of business this evening is a presentation for new business. We're going to give our Highway Superintendent, Rick Ruzniak. Where are you at? There we are. We're going to give him the floor for about 15 minutes to go through a brief slideshow and to talk a little bit with the board about where our 2026 infrastructure program is. So we'll give him some time for the presentation, and then if there's any questions, comments, concerns from board members on this, we'll get into a little bit of that before we get into our public comment period. So Mr. Ruzniak, thank you for being here, and the floor is yours.
Okay, we've got an aggressive paving program this year. It includes 49 roads. Right now, we are right on time. We're right on schedule. This all, just take the guesswork out of this. Everybody thinks you just throw a load of blacktop in the back of the truck, shove it to a paver, and you put it on the street. There's planning that is involved. It's a year-long process. We have a program ourselves. We check our roads. We rate them from 1 to 10. And we pick the ones that are most needed and the ones that we can handle with storm sewer repairs, things that we want to get done so we don't pave a road and have to dig it up 6 months later. So there's a lot of planning that goes into what we do. So if we could start bringing up the slides. So once we know where we're at on drainage and sewage problems, these are some of the places where we've had floods. We pick up the pipe size, we add more DIs. This is on Rowan off of Ivanhoe, Preston area. And it's, they're working ahead of us. And the nice part right now, what's going on is if one of our departments is slacking, it holds up the paving department. And right now, everybody's on schedule. They're out kicking butt and getting the job done. So this is something we're proud of our crew here. So this is part of it. Next slide. This is in the Federal neighborhood, same thing. We're in here, this had no drainage, this area. This is another flood prone area. So we're adding DIs, backfilling, doing what we have to do. Next slide. Okay,
For the purposes of the public, can you explain what a DI is? What does that stand
DI is a drain intake. You see them on the
Okay.
side of the street, it's a grate. It carries all the water off the street. The biggest thing, they plug up. The biggest reasons are leaves, or most people cut the lawn and blow it into the street. I know it's just a habit that everybody does, but we prefer if you didn't. And if you do, please try to clean your drains. It saves, we got almost 7,000 DIs and manholes in the town. So for a crew the size we have, we can't keep up with it. We need some help from the public, so we appreciate your help out there.
And Rick, this is one of the two videos you provided to me. So
Yeah, this one here is where we did the drainage on the side of the road, and we're compacting it with a hand compactor, and it gets it ready prior to our milling schedule. But we'll pack this and we'll fill that trench with some binder. We'll use a road widener for that. So this is okay. We skipped over something there. Road widener is in? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this has all got to be done before you do put anything in the ground. Next. Okay, we missed something in here, but this is the milling process. This is where we walk in, we mill off about 2 inches of material, try to get to a good base. These areas here were fairly simple, not a lot of iron in the street. Iron in the street is manholes working around stuff and DIs. So some of these go quick and some take some time. Next slide. Okay, after milling, we got to clean up the millings. So we come in with the rough sweepers first, and we gather it up, loader scoops it up, throws it in one of the trucks, take it back to the yard. And we recycle all our millings. We take them, we get a credit on them at the plants where we buy it from. So as we go out to go pick up stone for the drainage, we take to save trucking, we make sure that truck is loaded both ways. That truck's going out with a load of millings and coming back with a load of stone.
Question, if you
Yep.
would. Is that McKesson?
McKesson Drive, yes.
There's not much traffic on there. I'm just wondering why that particular street may have been deemed necessary to.
It was, you can see the crumble still in it. The road was crumbling, coming apart. As we're paving it, the blacktop, or plowing it, the blacktop was coming up and pushing it into the streets. And we got a couple projects coming up possibly for a new building at the end of the street, which is in some of the plans here. So we just want to give them something decent to work with.
Was there drainage put in there too?
No, drainage was good.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a cheaper one. Okay, next. Okay, now we go back in with our other back trucks and back sweepers. This will run right into the curb lane. It's got a brush on it, pulls the material away from the curbs. You get a nice tight seal with the blacktop. So that truck will probably make 4 or 5 trips down that road in each lane to make sure it's clean, crumble, dust free. Next. Okay, the road widening, where we saw the tamper running, this is where it's a lot of order. This is a road widener. Material comes out of a truck, runs in there as a belt feeder that runs the material to the side. It'll fill that 3-foot wide trench. And as you pull forward, at the lower end of the pitcher's a scraper that'll scrape at the same height of the road so we can roll it. So when we're ready for milling, everything rides the same and the milling comes out good. Next. Okay, before we pave, we tack coat the roads. It adheres the blacktop to the milled surface. And we do this on every project that we use. It's we were talking, hey, why don't you buy your own? We only use it, on 50 roads, it ain't worth owning one to do this for what it costs. So it's kind of a no-brainer on that. Next. Paving crew. These are all our own people. We do all our own paving, and they're an awesome crew. You guys want to get out there and look at some of this work. Like up in Lockland off of Cleveland, start in there and take a look and see what they've done. I think this is Ivanhoe. And these projects are, the guys, you can tell they're proud of what they do. They're doing an awesome job out there. I mean, the big thing when you're running a paver, you're putting 2 inches down. Driveways aren't always even. So, I mean, you'll have a driveway that's, after we make the cut, it's 4 inches from the top. Some are lower, some are higher. We try to stay in the middle, and we come back and patch everything the best we can for the residents. We try to take care of them. If there's any damage at the end of their driveway, we take care of it. But that's if we cause it. Next. Then the finished product, the rolling. We've got a great crew on that too. We got some trainees this year. We trained 2 new people, and they're doing awesome. We keep them with 1 senior and 1 trainee, and they're backing each other up, and they're doing an awesome job. Next. That's our new salt barn. We just had the cover put back on. It was end of life, started tearing up. We lost some sections out of it. It's completed, the fabric's on, and they just sealed the concrete walls 2 days ago. So it's, as soon as it dries up, it's ready for salt, and we'll start loading shortly. Any more? That's it.
So with that, the main purpose for Rick being here today was just to fill us in on where the town was on its infrastructure program for the year, what phase we were on, how many of the roads we've gotten done, some of the other work.
We got 17 roads completed so far.
But with that, I'll open it up to the town board for any questions they may have for the highway superintendent. Start with Mr. Pilarski.
So we have 17 done to date. How many do we have projected to finish by the end of this summer, fall months?
49 minus 17. That's it. So, but the good thing is we're right on schedule. Anybody else?
Question, you did mention that all the streets are rated. You go through and say which ones are the worst.
Yes.
I'm sure that could be daunting to go to every single street yourself, but how do we manage what streets are the worst? Because I'm sure there's always somebody that says, it's my street that's the worst.
You know, some are going to be worse, but we look at the drainage. We're going to say, okay, we have drainage problems on this one. That one only needs a mill and fill, but the drainage has got to be done on this project. And it's the time to get it done. We don't want to have a cave in. We don't want to have any other problems. So we'll pick that one over another one. But I mean, the program we have running right now and the funding we have right now, because our CHIPS funding came through, it was a little more than we expected because we advocate for that. The Highway Association goes to Albany, and we get out there and we get in our congressmen, our senators, and our assemblyman's face and, hey, we got to get this done. You know, this can't be the burden on the town. We need some extra money out of the state. And we did well this year. We got extra money. That gives us a little less burden on us, and more, we can put more work. We can roll over something in the next year, which is going to be good.
Questions, comments, concerns from board members? All right, seeing none, hearing none. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Rick.
thank you.
You're all set. Our next order of business is the public comment period. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on matters involving the town of Cheektowaga. Each speaker may speak only once, and each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time.
Ryan, please put my name on there, so. Please.
Okay, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11 speakers for public comment. Our first is Paul Valencourt.
Hi, Paul Valencourt. I live in the town of Tonawanda. My comment is concerning the Flock license plate readers. Members of the board, thank you. Before you spend one more dollar of taxpayer money on watching our own neighbors, please answer one question. What are we actually buying? From the research and not the sales pitch, we are buying a tool that the strongest studies say does not reduce crime. Randomized trials in Mesa, Arizona, in Northern Virginia, and in Baton Rouge show no significant drop in crime. Clearances do not improve by a statistically significant amount. A case that happened to involve a camera is not proof that the camera has cracked it. So before this town hands this vendor another cent, please ask the department the plain question they have never had to answer in public. In how many cases was a Flock hit the only lead that you had? If they cannot say, then what we are buying is the feeling of safety and not safety itself. Understand also what else comes in the box. These cameras misread plates. A police-run study found them wrong more than a third of the time. These misreads haven't ended with innocent people face down on the pavement at gunpoint, and with cities writing 6- and 7-figure settlement checks signed by the taxpayers. You're buying that as well. The part that should stop this vote cold is that you've been told that the town owns its data and there's no DMV link, but this is misdirection. The danger was never that Flock reads your registration. The danger is that an officer in another state, where ending a pregnancy is a crime, can reach into Cheektowaga's cameras through the Flock national network and hunt someone down. That is not a hypothetical. A Texas officer searched more than 83,000 cameras to track a woman who had had an abortion. Customs and Border Protection wormed into local data through a secret pilot program that no one in any town voted for. Illinois ran an audit and had to cut off 47 agencies for violations of state law. Dayton, Ohio, found 7,000 banned immigration searches of its own cameras and ended up throwing trash bags over them in the street because the contract would not let them simply take the cameras down. Please let that picture sit with you. This city was so betrayed by this company that its only way out was garbage bags. 80 cities have already pulled the plug, and they did not surrender to crime. They refused to hand a private company a daily map of where every resident goes, after that company proved again and again that it could not keep its word. So the question in front of you is not whether you trust your own officers, it is whether you trust a billion-dollar surveillance company in Atlanta and every agency it quietly shares with never to misuse that map. They've already answered the question for you. Please have the same backbone that those 80 cities showed. Vote no on more cameras, and the 29 that we already have, please put bags over those too. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Alex Hedges.
My name is Alex Hedges, and I have again come to make a statement on the proposed expansion of automatic license plate recognition, ALPR use, as is described in Resolution 2026-342. I understand the police department's desire to use ALPR technology because it helps respond to crimes, but I feel the attachment to Flock specifically is misplaced. I did some research and I found multiple companies that design systems with privacy and security in mind. OpenLPR by Recker sells a Recker Edge Max camera that, according to their security page, uses their algorithms to process captured video data within the cameras itself, so limited sensitive information ever gets stored or transmitted. In addition, they support both bringing your own cameras and even have on-premise compute, so there's no reliance on any centralized server like Flock requires. If the company goes out of business or their servers go down, you should still be able to run your ALPR system. And they also seem to have similar vehicle characteristic detection support to Flock, so as though there's no need to compromise on features. PlateSmart is another company I found that provides systems with similar capabilities. I only spent an hour or so researching, so I'm sure a more dedicated effort could find similar providers and properly evaluate them. I'm simply bringing up these options to show that Flock is not required and that it can be replaced with alternatives that are safer for all of us. This better technology is not sufficient to respect people's rights. We also need a proper policy in place, such as the model CCOPS legislation recommended by the ACLU. We should be replacing the invasive surveillance technology that is currently being used, not expand it. Do not sign this flock contract. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Brendan Gilbert.
Good evening, town board. Congratulations on choosing a topic more controversial than data centers. I'm here to speak in opposition to Resolution 342. I represent people in Cheektowaga Justice Court in front of town justices Wannett, Stevens, and now occasionally Justice Vocal. I pray for Justice Stevens' continued recovery. I am a proud panelist of the Erie County Assigned Counsel Program and the Erie and Niagara County Bar Associations. I mostly defend misdemeanors to people that can't afford a lawyer. You don't need to be a defendant to point at the Fourth Amendment and claim its protections. The problem is just pointing at it doesn't really do it any damn good. Everyone on New York soil is protected by it at all times. Defendants are just individuals that the government attaches a label onto. Governments who deprive individuals of civil rights are subject to financial liability under federal and state law. We all know that this is only adding 2 cameras. The town already has 29 cameras. The whole relationship with Flock should be ended. You're expanding a deal with a company that can't even spell the word privileged properly in their license plate reader policy. And Leonardo and the alternatives, they're no better. Our government is maintaining a surveillance database of everywhere we all travel over the past 30 days. The state started with cashless travel on the thruway. Taking photos of your car there was just the price of abolishing the toll booth. That was the thin end of the wedge. The Flock Flacks say the consent to their surveillance state and tools is the price for keeping a just and civil society. I remember when the US government said that about tools like waterboarding and the Patriot Act. Town court justices Wannett and Stevens were cops before they were judges. They didn't have the benefit of Flock. They did their jobs all the same, but somehow the price of liberty has increased. How has the price of liberty increased? Republicans, allegedly the defenders of liberty, but in reality spineless lickspittles, are nowhere to be found in opposition. Thankfully, New York repealed adultery as a crime in November of 2024. People say that we have no expectation of privacy in public. The United States Supreme Court disagreed. Katz v. United States. Justice Potter Stewart wrote the opinion. There was a government plan involved to bug phone booths. The Fourth Amendment protects people, not places. What a person seeks to preserve as private, even in an area accessible to the public, may be protected. The government's activities in electronically listening to and recording the petitioner's words violated the privacy on which he justifiably relied while using the telephone booth, and thus constituted a search and seizure within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. That Flock, PR Flack, 2 weeks ago, breezily mentioned Carpenter v. United States. Carpenter involves cell phone data. Every person in that case had a commercial relationship with their cell phone provider. No one in the town of Cheektowaga does, and neither should the town. The tool to police accountability of police use of Flock data is in the hands of local police in the town. What could go wrong? Irish jailhouse poet Brendan Behan remarked, "I've never seen a situation so dismal that a policeman couldn't make it worse." We can't trust police and former police to park their cars properly without damaging 6 stationary cars, or to not leave loaded guns in an unattended car in Niagara Square. The only conclusion supported by the evidence is that we cannot trust the police to police the police. Flock audit tracks, meaningless without accountability. No plan offered or contemplated by the town for accountability or oversight. How does Flock ensure that police officers
Mr.
who are
Gilbert,
subject?
I'm sorry to cut you short. We're over 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'll reserve my remarks. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gary Borg.
You should have given more time. You should have fought for more. We would have fought for you.
Could I ask the audience to remain quiet during public comment?
Couple of things before Flock. Juneteenth, nice to see you're having the resolution, but please have it before the event. It was a good event. It would be nice to publicize it with the resolution before it happens. The computers you're going to buy, I actually looked into it. The price is right for those computers. They're 2019 computers, but as long as we don't have employees doing AI, they'll be more than sufficient for about 5 years. On to Flock. I am not against cameras. I'm not against police having access to cameras. I'm concerned about the Flock system, though. I'm concerned that we don't have the necessary guardrails to protect that data. I think that data would be useful to our local police in situations where they might need to do an investigation, but I don't think we have the guardrails on that system to protect us, all of us citizens, from its misuse. We did have one Flock incident here in Cheektowaga a couple of years ago, I think maybe just last year. Flock camera picked up a stolen car. Police officer started following the stolen car, lost it. A few minutes later, who was then our chief of police, not our chief now, but our chief of police then, he saw a similar car and reported, hey, I picked up the car. They started following it. Eventually, a woman was stopped as she was entering Lancaster because they alerted Lancaster to it. Horrible situation, pulled out of the car, treated like a criminal, completely innocent. In front of her, she was picking up her daughter from work. And her daughter's entire workforce was out there watching this stupid incident. If that woman had had a cell phone in her hand, she was at risk of being shot because of a mistake by a police officer about the Flock data. It wasn't a mistake by Flock, it was a mistake by the police officer. I'm sure there are plenty of instances in which Flock was helpful in solving a crime. And I think it could be useful for that purpose, but we don't have the necessary guardrails at this time on it. And I think you need to insist they be put in place before you allow it to go forward. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tony Filipski.
All right, with this Flock stuff, I think we're kind of mismatching two different discussions here. This should have been voted on 6 weeks ago, as far as I'm concerned. You already got 29 of them. If you got 1 or 50, what's the difference? Put the 2 in on a grant and be done with it. Then you have your argument about Flock or whatever company, whatever problems you have. I get it, that's fine. But this is turning into a big agenda pushing item. I will tell you, this town has had some very large, onerous criminals in this town. None of you were around, but the .22 caliber killer has a couple victims in Cheektowaga. Right down the street was one they couldn't prove. The bike path rapist was a resident of this town. AMSA bombing across the street. 2 people got killed. I was the first one there. And other people across Western New York were killed and hurt by a serial bomber. No technology then. This is the age we live in. I get that people are concerned about cameras. And generally, if you're doing nothing wrong, you got nothing to worry about. Do mistakes happen? Yes, because humans are involved. But I'll tell you, and this is as sure as I'm standing here, the criminal element knows what you guys are going to do and what you don't do. They know if you back the police and if you don't, because they've told me that. The word out there is Cheektowaga soft. Go to Cheektowaga, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get away with it. And the 10th time, you're going to get let go anyways. Take a word for the wise, because when you start going against law enforcement en masse, take the welcome to Cheektowaga signs down and put up welcome to Thunderdome, because that's what you're going to get. Mark my words. You heard it here first. This ain't political to me. This ain't a left, right, red, blue, us versus them. This is purely public safety. And you could look up everything you want and say all this, that, and the other thing, and whatever. It's a public safety issue. No question about it. So please take a roll call vote. Let everybody see what side you're on. Are you pro law enforcement or against it? Let the cops know, their families and friends, retired cops, families and friends. Let them know. This should have been done 6 weeks ago. Like I said, there's 29 of them already. The town doesn't pay for all of them. A lot of the businesses want this. People want this. Some of you have gotten calls, I'm sure, or emails. People want them on their street. Put one on my street, please. We need to do something. We're 14 cops short now. New York State does not care about law enforcement anymore. Please step up. Let the cops know you got their backs. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jess Greenwald.
I'm here to ask this town to cut all ties with flock safety and to support the immediate formation of a civilian review board. There continues to be a fundamental lack of comprehension surrounding flock's technology. So to clarify, if a police officer sat on Union Road and manually photographed every passing car, it would be difficult, but legal, and also completely different than flock. Why? Because it would be physically impossible for that officer to share those photos with 1,600 organizations simultaneously, like Cheektowaga Police was doing when we first started talking about this. According to NPR, Flock currently has between 5,000 to 6,000 law enforcement agency contracts. That means that the Cheektowaga Police Department has actively shared every driver in this town's information with up to a third of Flock's entire customer base nationwide, and that we are paying for that. You cannot reasonably say that this is not mass surveillance. Surveillance is defined as the systematic, ongoing observation or monitoring of a person, place, or group to gather information. When a system utilizes features like vehicle fingerprinting and suspicion generation on 500,000 cars a month, it is by definition surveillance. Flock reverses our justice system and defies what it means to live in a free and fair society. Instead of the state or the police bearing the responsibility of proving your guilt for a crime, this technology forces every driver to be able to prove their innocence in the event that Flock misflags their car, which we've heard about. When we consider documented instances of wrong cars being flagged, severe security vulnerabilities, and potential for foreign interference, even if misuse within a department was not possible, it is not a secure system. It's severely flawed for our town. Additionally, it's not appropriate to compare these to cell phones. Cell phone data is not openly broadcast to law enforcement. It's not a government-funded mandate tracking citizens without their consent. That's something an individual decides. This lack of guardrails is precisely why we need a civilian review board. It's a request that we've brought to you since the beginning of the year, and many of you have expressed interest in. I mean, the FOIL data provided proves our concerns valid. It shows that the guy that spoke before me, that you guys gave a minute and a half to last meeting, he's got a ton of searches that are single letters from when he was a police officer. It does show searches conducted by the Cheektowaga Police Department on behalf of ICE. Like, these are not valid reasons. This does not align with our policy. We do not have anything against the police, but we want transparency and accountability and our rights respected. We don't want criminals in our town either, but as it's been mentioned, criminals were caught before Flock. The studies that these grants were, funded with do not mention ALPRs. They do not mention Flock. It is not one of the things that is suggested as a use of those funds to drive down crime, which would actually be helping our community. I've emailed you these studies and document outlining how we can form a review board to start making changes that benefit everybody. Our policing values on our website is community policing.
Thank you. I'm sorry to cut you short. It's been 3 minutes.
I just want to say there's people ready and willing to do the work. And one more time, meet with us. We're here every meeting. We could do this outside of the town meeting.
Our next speaker is Brian Gould.
Good evening, Town Board. Thank you for allowing me to speak at tonight's meeting. My name is Brian Gould. I've served the residents of Cheektowaga for many years and had the privilege of serving as the chief of police here. During my career, I was responsible for evaluating countless requests for equipment, technology, and resources. Every purchase required balancing effectiveness, cost, legality, and public trust. I was involved in bringing flock safety cameras to Cheektowaga because I believed then, and I continue to believe today, that they are a valuable tool for protecting our community. Let me be clear about what these cameras are and what they are not. They are not surveillance cameras that track daily activities. They are an investigative tool that capture vehicle information and provide officers with leads when a vehicle is connected to a crime, a stolen vehicle report, a missing person investigation, or another legitimate law enforcement purpose. Across the country, independent news organizations have documented case after case where these cameras have helped locate missing children, recover stolen vehicles, find endangered seniors suffering from dementia, identify violent offenders, and solve serious crimes. These are not theoretical benefits. These are real people who were found and real crimes that were solved. I understand that some residents have concerns about privacy. Those concerns deserve to be heard and addressed. In a free society, we should always ask questions about how government uses technology. Good policies, auditing, supervision, and accountability are essential. However, we must also be honest about the overall record. While opponents often focus on isolated examples of misuse, those cases represent a very small fraction of the millions of lawful and successful uses of this technology. The overwhelming body of evidence shows that these systems are helping police agencies protect the public, recover victims, and apprehend offenders. As someone who spent a career making decisions about public safety, I can tell you that every tool carries responsibility. Police radios can be misused, computer systems can be misused, patrol vehicles can be misused. The answer is not to eliminate useful tools. The answer is to establish safeguards, enforce accountability, and use these tools responsibly. The current chief and the men and women of the Cheektowaga Police Department understand that responsibility. I know firsthand the care that goes into evaluating new equipment and technology. Requests like these are not made casually. They are made because officers believe these tools help them better serve and protect the people of our town. The town board has a responsibility to not only protect civil liberties, but also to protect the public safety. Those responsibilities are not mutually exclusive. We can have both strong safeguards and effective policing. I respectfully urge the board to continue supporting the use and the expansion of flock cameras in Cheektowaga. Doing so will provide our officers with a proven investigative tool while maintaining the oversight and accountability that our residents expect. And I will echo what Tony Filipski mentioned. It's time that this resolution be moved from the table, that the board take a roll call vote, and we know which one of our representatives at this table will stand up for the safety of our community and support our police department. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next speaker is Wally Carriero.
Good afternoon, Wally Carriero. I live at...
Nope. I'm sorry, but I'm a resident of this town who's trying to sit and listen to the meeting, and I'm being heckled by the people behind.
Okay.
Are you or the chief going to do something about this?
Yeah. I'm asking for the audience to remain quiet. I will pay attention to the audience going forward there. If we cannot be respectful to each other in the audience, I will toss people out. My apologies, Brian. Wally, you have the floor.
Thank you. Wally Carrier. I live in Cheektowaga. Been here for 36 years. 29 flock cameras. Buy another 29. Every flock camera is an officer collecting data to be used to keep me, my family, safe. It is keeping all the citizens safe in Cheektowaga because when a crime occurs, I now have one officer that can investigate 29 cameras to solve a crime. The cost of ownership of that camera is negligible compared to the cost of putting 29 more officers on the street. We have to understand that we have to use the data responsibly. We get that. And we understand the fact that if I'm in Tennessee and I get pulled over and they type my license plate in that computer in their car, they will be able to see the New York State license plate information come up in their car. That information is shared across all 50 states. My driver's license, my registration, my insurance is all shared. So wherever my vehicle travels on public roads where there's flock cameras, my license plate is captured. And that's okay if it's not used in committing of a crime. New York State Thruway is taking it one step further. They'll send me a ticket if I'm driving too fast. I may not agree with that, but I believe in the name of safety, it's required. We're using technology to make our lives safer. We're using technology to keep our citizens safer. And that's what you're all here for. You're running a town that is responsible so that should someone decide to go to the Galleria and steal a car, hopefully you can recover that car with little to no cost to the owner of the car. Without flock cameras, you don't have the resources to locate them until they're stripped and left in a field on fire. So you don't have a solution to the problem to flock because flock is the solution. You're not going to say, oh, well, we're going to eliminate every camera because there's cameras everywhere you go in Cheektowaga. If I go to 7-Eleven, the first thing that I see when I walk through the door is a public view monitor with my face on it. That information is collected, whether it's for marketing or security or whatever. I choose to walk into that store and I can choose not to. If I go to Home Depot, the first thing I see is a public view camera. My data is collected. If I pull in their parking lot, my data is collected. If I go to the Walden Galleria, my data is collected. The only difference is the fact that God only knows who can watch that video footage versus the flock cameras, which is regulated through law enforcement agencies. But without the flock camera, we still have LPRs on our police cars. And they can still pull up pictures of your car as that police car drives down the street and sees you. I don't understand what the big deal is. I agree with Chief Gould and I agree with Chief Coons that says roll call vote and let's see if you believe in law and order or if you believe in chaos. Because without law enforcement, just imagine what this town would be. Thank you.
Before we move any further, Madam Clerk, would you be able to provide a Zoom link to the meeting in the comments? Or is there a Zoom link to this meeting available online? Okay, within the comments here, there's been repeated request for a Zoom link. If you go to the Town of Cheektowaga webpage, you're able to find a Zoom link for the meeting there. The next speaker is Mara Chekhov.
Hello, Town Board. Hello, Town Board members. My name is Mara Chekhov. I'm here to speak on behalf of Resolution 342 in regards to purchasing additional flock cameras. We've spoken a lot about them today, and there's been comments in the past and today regarding that their effectiveness as a tool for law enforcement and the privacy concerns. I personally am not against new technology helping keep our town safer. I'm not against LPRs as a concept, but we've seen a lot of flaws in this system of flock. And we've seen that the grant that they're using, it has been mentioned, isn't what they aren't what the grant was even intended for in the first place. There's a lot of studies showing what prevents crime. You notice how every storefront nowadays is brightly lit because lots of studies show that increasing brightness on the street during business hours at night helps reduce crime. There's all these other cheaper, easier solutions that will reduce crime, but not look as flashy. You won't have a guy looking at a camera going, oh, I caught this guy. Instead, that crime would have never happened in the first place, which, in my opinion, is better. As for the flock itself as a company and the system in place, just looking at the review we have right now, one of the banned uses for flock is traffic infractions. Quick count of the 300 or so things here. I see about 60 times it was used for traffic infractions before I decided to stop counting. There's clearly no oversight on the system. It's not being used how we wanted it to be used, and it's not the best system we can have for our town for our money. I know it sucks to give up a new toy. But if we really want to keep this town safe, there's better uses for our money. If we have to go for LPRs, there's better LPRs. If we want to follow the data and follow the studies that show what reduce crime, there's other solutions, such as installing better lighting throughout public areas and keeping areas clean to help reduce, which is also shown to reduce crime. I urge the town to not put in these 2 additional cameras and to move forward in actually keeping our town safer by using the grant money for the studies that the grant found that will reduce crime in our area. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Dawn Filipski.
Hello. I don't have anything on Flock today, believe it or not. I do have the battery system that they wish to build on Broadway. I'm not a fan of that. It leads to a lot of problems for the fire department should it catch on fire. They're difficult to put out. You've already heard me say all this, so I'm just repeating it a little bit. The location on Broadway, I hope that you guys will decide prior to approval what this is actually assessed at. Does the whole, I mean, that's almost 7 acres. 7 acres assessed currently. I think they paid $115,000 was their assessment on Broadway. It might be slightly higher because that was the price that the taxes were based off of. I pay way more than $115,000 on my house. So let's decide that. 7 acres of land, that could have been some really nice accessible housing units, possibly. I don't know what's under that land, or affordable housing, some small houses for seniors, small houses for people just starting out. But instead, we're choosing to do this and whatever. The other property on Genesee Street, you need to kind of look at how much they are behind in back taxes. Erie County lists that property as being behind is about $90,000. I think 30 of it was interest payments. And the town website lists it as not paying their current year's taxes, which would be last year's taxes. Additionally, it looks like they also did not take care of the property, and they had to pay for getting their grass cut. I think it is. I don't know. So none of these properties should come here, in my opinion. If somebody's not really vetting them, if you're not paying your taxes, or there's a tax problem, why are we even bringing it here for a vote at this point? It should be looked at and never get here. This is not the first time I've brought up that we've had a property that was brought before the board that had back taxes due. So I think somebody needs to vet this a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Our next speaker is Mr. Dave Uzar.
Evening. I just want to go off topic with, I think it was Vern that brought up the McKesson. The gonorrhea said, no, you're not going to have access to our driveway. And that's the reason this was stopped to my knowledge. So why would you, when you do a construction project that big, one of the things they do is destroy the road with infrastructure and everything else. So why would we be out there repairing the road or fixing or do whatever we're doing when they're going to go in there and put a hotel in and they're going to tear up all the infrastructure? Unless Rick can prove it, you show me the infrastructure that's going to take a hotel on right now in that area. I'd like to see it. I really would. There's nothing there, but I can't remember the name of the place. It's been there since Christ was a corporal. There's nothing there. And like I said, the gonorrhea said, no, you're not going to get access to our property. So, you like that, right? So, they're not going to give them. I don't know if we can force them. I thought maybe we might own some of that land since not we own it, but that's Galleria Drive. And correct me if I'm wrong, who plows that and everything? Who maintains that road? I see police checkpoints on that road and everything every now and then. So this thing on McKesson is, to me, is a no-go. I don't care what they say, and I say the school is close by and everything else, and the traffic in that area with the restaurants and the whole basic mall across the street is totally empty. Fill up them small stores first. Okay, you let a car wash go in there, and I remember one of the council members saying, "Oh, it's going to be a traffic tie-up," and everything. I said, it wasn't. And there's nothing wrong. They changed some of their driving habits and everything. And my wife brought up today about some of it. And I know the managers. I'll be talking with them to see about changing some of it, because there's only one way in there. Sign's gone. The sign's gone. So you got to turn. The only way to get in that place is you're heading south, turn left from Union. And there used to be a sign up there, no left turn, gone. So there's a lot of other things. Everybody that spoke today was great. I can compliment everybody. I got other crap here that's got to go up too. I'm going to sign that sheet again. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With that, those are the end of the individuals that signed up for public comment. I'd like to give Chief Coons, if he'd like, an opportunity to deliver any comments he has during the end of our public comment period.
Good evening. Speaking on the flock resolution, two things. Remember, we already have a contract in place. We're just adding 2 cameras to that contract. Over the past month, I've sent you emails. I've had phone calls with you. I've had more emails sent to you. I brought the company to have individual meetings with you. I brought the company in here to present to the board and to the public, all just to dispute the false claims about this product. We've addressed data, security, locations, audits, among others. In the last 14 days, we've used Flock to break up a car theft ring, locate a resident experiencing a mental health crisis, and assist a neighboring jurisdiction in making an arrest for carjacking. Earlier this year, just a couple months ago, United States versus Porter, the 5th District, affirmed that the use of APRs or ALPRs do not violate the 4th Amendment. The day after the last meeting, a local business owner sent me a check to my office to pay for the cameras, as he was embarrassed by the conduct of these meetings. I implore you to approve this resolution and help us continue fighting crime in our town. I ask you to prioritize citizen safety and not a national political agenda. Thank you.
Yeah. With that, we're going to move on to board discussion. Is there any old business council members would like to bring before the body this evening? We have speakers signed up at the end of the meeting. We are on to old business. Is there anything from council members? Okay. Going to move on to new business. I've got a few things here, so I'll start it out and then we'll open it up to the rest of the board if that's okay. The Fire Chiefs Association provided a letter to the town board regarding flock cameras. I believe everybody here was on that email, had an opportunity to see that. I did send that to the clerk so that way it can be entered into the official record. The association went on record in support of flock cameras, so if you haven't had a chance to read that letter, I'd encourage you to do so. So we got that. There was a few emails regarding the language on term limits and the updates on that. Attorney Fowler and Clerk Burst and I were working together on that. I believe we have final language. The language will be sent by the town clerk to Board of Elections. We're on track to have a referendum on November 3rd when it comes to that. July 4th I had on my list about a little bit more that we're doing this year compared to prior years. So I want to say thank you to Councilmember Bukowski and Councilmember Lewis especially for getting some food trucks involved and the work that you guys have done to look for musical acts and to book musical acts. We got a few more details to iron out with that, but following the parade on the 4th of July, we're going to have some activity in Town Park for our residents to enjoy. Not quite what we used to do when we had the carnival and all of that, but it's something, and I think the effort that we've put in to expand what we offer on the 4th of July and improve things is great. It was mentioned earlier, we got to find a balance between public safety and other priorities. And when it comes to our budgeting, we have the same thing. We have to balance our limited budget with what we offer to the residents. I had a couple things on the hotel bed tax. We have 24 hotels that we've asked to register, 21 of them have. We've issued those 21 hotels what's called a certificate of authorization to officially allow them to collect the tax. We've received checks from 2 of the hotels already. Together, it's about $21,000. So that would go towards Q2 revenue for 2026. We still have half the year for these hotels to collect the tax. My office is navigating some of the questions we have right now. There's some work to do to iron out the details on who's going to administer it. I don't think it's a good idea for any elected official, including the supervisor's office, to get into the minutia of administration. I would think our role as council members is to oversee the entire operation. Somebody should be primarily in charge of it, and then we get involved in whether it's a grass cutting issue, whether it's a need to settle an employee related issue, whatever it is. We get involved in all sorts of different things as the next level, and we should apply that philosophy to the bed tax too. But I had a chance to talk with Councilmember Thompson a little bit right before the meeting, and we had a little bit of back and forth on this, but he's offered to assist, and his looking into updates and that has been helpful, so I appreciate that. And once we work out the details of how this is going to be administered, the councilman and I'll get you guys an update on exactly how that's going to work out. But we're well on our way, and I'm feeling a lot better about how this is rolling out now than I did 2 or 3 months ago, and there's cause for optimism on that. It's gonna, the goal we have this year, I feel we can meet it in terms of revenue generation. And that is all I had on my list for new business. I know it's a quick whirlwind. Anything else from council members? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none. That'll move us over to the consent agenda announcement. A consent agenda is contained in this meeting. A consent agenda is designed to, the consent agenda is designed to assist making the meeting shorter and more efficient. Items left on the consent agenda may not be discussed when the consent agenda comes before the town board. If any council member wishes to discuss a consent agenda item, please tell me now, and I will remove the item from the consent agenda, and it will be added as a separate resolution item. There's a handful I have anticipated we may remove, but I haven't had council members prior to the meeting ask for any to be pulled. So with that, I'll open up to the board. Is there any item you would like pulled from consent agenda this evening? Madam Clerk, I believe we are all set to move ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman.
2026-427.
A moment on that. Okay.
Twenty 26-420. Yes. Um, 2026, 421 as well.
421. Okay.
That being said, can I have a motion and a second to approve the meeting agenda? Is there a motion?
Make motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Thompson, second by Councilmember Bukowski. All in favor?
Aye.
We have an item that was left on the table. Is there a motion and a second to move resolution item 2026-342 to the table for consideration? Is there a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Thompson, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-342 is moved to the table for consideration. It is sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Thompson. On February 8th, 2022, this town board adopted Resolution 2022-94 titled Upgrade ALPR System to Upgrade and Expand the then outdated LPR camera systems and equipment by utilizing a cloud-based solution through Flock Group, Inc., which provided a software and hardware solution for ALPR cameras, including equipment installation and support. On June 27th, 2023, this town board adopted another resolution to update and expand the then outdated ALPR camera system and equipment. On January 23rd, 2024, this town board adopted an additional resolution to amend that agreement. And on October 8th of 2024, the town board adopted another amendment. It is now recommended by the Chief of Police and the Captain of Administration and Finance to amend the aforementioned current amended agreement with the Flock Group. The Chief of Police and his or her designee being and hereby is authorized and directed to execute the attached Flock Group, Inc. amendment, authorizing the amendments contained therein with subject to review and approval of the town attorney.
Right? On the question, I have been supportive of these resolutions previously. You'll find me as sponsors of them. And I believe I will be in the future. I see the benefits of the technology, but I will not be supporting it this evening. I would like my name to remain on the resolution as a sponsor. Any other council members?
Call for a roll call vote.
Roll call vote on resolution.
I'm sorry, can we still continue discussing or?
Yeah, the vote was called.
Councilmember Bukowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Elderkin?
No.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson?
Yes.
Supervisor Noack?
I am a no.
Resolution is carried with 4 yes votes. That's the end of the tabled items. Motion and a second to approve all items on the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes of June 9th, 2026, and including resolution items 2026-413 through 2026-442. We will recognize that 3 items were removed and action will be taken at separate resolution items. I need a roll call vote. Oh, I'm sorry. First, I need a motion to approve the consent items.
I'll make the motion.
By Councilmember Bukowski. Is there a second?
I will second.
Councilmember Elderkin is a second. All in favor? We will take a roll call vote. Councilmember Bukowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Elderkin.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski. Councilmember Thompson.
Yes.
Supervisor Noah.
I'm a yes.
Starting with resolution 2026-420, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. The main pump station accepts nearly all the sanitary sewer flows within the northern area of the town's consolidated sewer district and pump said flows to the Buffalo Sewer Authority for treatment. The main pump station superintendent has determined the wastewater pump station number 2 is inoperable and requires repair. The repair of the wastewater pump station number 2 and related work at the main pump station be awarded to Moley Industries of Lockport, New York, at a starting cost of $1,650 and not to exceed $10,600.
Right, on the question?
Yeah, I have a question, maybe for Pat Bowen. Says that you reviewed these quotes from a local vendor. Is that the engineering department, or is that something that you reviewed?
There was a combination of myself and Enzo Bellavia who reviewed the quotes.
No.
Thank you. With that, any other questions from council members? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries.
Resolution 2026-421, sponsored by Councilmember Lewis, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. Due to extreme weather conditions of past winter seasons, New York State has approved an extreme winter recovery fund for the repair of roadways. The town of Cheektowaga has received notification by New York State has been appropriated $257,817.93 of said funds to the town. The Director of Administration and Finance has created said capital account for which extreme winter recovery funds will be spent.
All right, on the question.
Yes. Good. So this kind of ties into some of the new business, but this kind of jogged my memory. At one point, we had talked about starting a fund for vehicles throughout the town. I know we've talked about it a few times. I know this is something that's been funded even previously, but I guess we can start that conversation again by seeing the interest the board would have in starting a fund for those type of things. I don't have any opposition towards this resolution, but as I was going through this, I thought it'd be good to kind of revive that conversation. Is that something we're open to?
On this all night. I absolutely am open to it. We have a couple sources of revenue coming for, let's say, for the highway department. If we're talking vehicle funds generally, absolutely, let's get into all that. But if it's pertaining to highway department specifically, you're talking heavy equipment, and then you're talking some of like the 4x4 pickups and that they may need.
Things we'd normally be considering bonding for or going to reserves, things like that. So yeah, mainly highway.
So we have the hotel bed tax, and the way the version that was ultimately approved was written, it basically calls for a portion of those dollars to go for funding capital equipment. I don't recall exactly the percentage. I want to say it's something like 30%. There may be a number in there, but the law does call for a portion of those revenues. So we got about $21,000 in so far. We have to earmark a portion of that towards this fund. That would go towards whether we need a high lift or a triaxle or, you know, or tandems or whatever it may be. We're probably looking at singles and tandems, really. We would have some money towards that. For these revenues that come in, there's 4 different resolutions between CHIPS, POP, Pave New York, and then the one that's pulled, winter recovery. Those are typically going to road milling, paving, that whole deal. I believe we can use some of the money towards vehicles. I'm open to it. I'd want to run that past the highway department. Within the highway fund, most of the money, as we know, comes from sales tax. We do get some money from outside governments. We get some other sources of revenue. We can set something up as another way in addition to the bed tax. Maybe we consider using excess sales tax money above the budget to say, hey, we'll put this aside towards capital equipment. For the 27 budget, like prior budgets, we're going to have money built within that as what I proposed to the board that would help cover that as well. That's another way to skin the cat. But I agree that we should, in the long term, be funding as much heavy equipment in all of our passenger vehicles and pickup trucks on a cash basis. You know, I've seen bonding from other towns, and this isn't a criticism, it's a description, where they've bonded pickup trucks. One town bonded a single pickup truck. and another one wrapped a pickup truck within a larger bond for heavy equipment. And that's their decisions, that's their people. I respect it, but my preferred approach on this board is not to do that. You know, if we can generate the cash and buy those outright, that's not a reason to put debt on the taxpayer. But when it comes to that heavy equipment, we're going to have to do that for a little while longer, because if we worked for a few years to save up that cash, the cost of the vehicles are going up so high. You see it with fire trucks. You're even starting to see it with school buses that, you know, you're better off paying the interest on a loan than you are just saving up the cash and doing it later on. Like some of the fire districts, they can't even catch up. Like they could save all this cash within their budgets, and the cost of the vehicle is rising so much faster that it's like you might as well borrow. But those are a couple ways that we can generate some revenue. Is there an idea from the board on a dollar amount? Do you have a dollar amount in mind, Councilman, or something you got to look at?
Not particularly, similar to the bed tax, even if it's a percentage. But I think it's important to at least establish something, and that'd be a question for Mr. Kraus.
He's online with us. If you've got any specific
No,
questions
not
for him,
right
but
now, but
okay.
And generating and creating that account. So that's something I can have further discussions with him, but as long as the interest is there, I think leading into budget season, which is going to come up soon, I think it should be a conversation at least.
The highway department created a multi-year, I want to say it's a 15-year plan for how to reinvest in their equipment. So we can get to that question and say, how much would it cost on an annual basis based on the projections to make those investments? And do we want to do all of that on a cash basis? Do we want to do half and half? Do we want to look at specific assets to say, if you're buying a pickup truck every other year, for instance, well, maybe we need to put X dollar amount in each budget, and then, you know, build up more than that. It could be a reason to grow the reserve funds even more, but I think the preferred approach would be how many of these passenger vehicles we're buying. We say we definitely pay cash. And then when you get to the heavy equipment, we do as much of it as possible. I just don't see how we rule out bonding if we have emergencies arise or assets fail us sooner, and we say it's probably better to cut ties with a particular vehicle instead of continuing to repair it. But that's a long-winded way to say yes, and I think we're pretty close on this issue.
I think you're spot on. We definitely need to do this. Before any of us were on this board, there was a plan in place on cycling old vehicles out based off age and condition of the vehicles. And that plan got scrapped when the budget started getting tighter. That was the first thing cut out of it, and then reallocated the funds elsewhere. So if we do that as a board here, I would highly recommend that we make it a restricted account to where it can't be pulled from and it can't be transferred to a budget gap somewhere else in it. And it builds up over time to where if we get into an emergency, you know, it's not going to balance our budget next year or 3 years now because we have $500,000 there to buy new vehicles, because we'll be in the same boat we're in right now, where we'll have to buy 10 new vehicles all at once. And if we follow that plan that was put before us, we can cycle 2 vehicles or 2 pieces of equipment every year or so based off the budget without breaking the bank. So I'd recommend making it a restricted account.
Some of the things you run into is, okay, we should purchase a 2026 truck because right now we have a 2022. The 2022 may still be in great condition, but finding the appropriate ways to repurpose it that's where that gray area is. And, you know, the police department, their vehicles are not, you know, certainly the price of heavy machinery, but I mean, they have a program where they're consistent and they always, you see new vehicles come through and they have a pretty good system, but maybe we talk to them and see how they stay on top of that without detrimenting that. But I'm glad it sounds like everybody's in support of that. So thank you. That's all I got.
That, Madam Clerk, could you call the vote?
2026-421. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion.
Carries.
Resolution 2026-427, Sponsored by Councilmember Pilarski, seconded by Supervisor Noack. The Main Pump Station Department accepts all the sanitary sewer flows within the town's consolidated sewer district and pumps said flows to the Buffalo Sewer Authority. Said facilities went into operation over 46 years ago and are showing signs of wear, and some components are beyond their service life. Nussbaumer and Clark has estimated the fee for said services to be approximately $136,500 as outlined on their proposal dated June 16th, 2026. The supervisor being hereby is authorized and directed to execute an agreement with Nussbaumer and Clark for services related to the assessment of main pump department facilities.
Okay, on the question.
Question on this. So this resolution says we're looking to retain services, Nussbaumer and Clark, to assist the town with assessment of main pump station. So we're looking to pay $136 for an assessment. Now, this also references resolution from 2020 for an agreement that we had, but I couldn't tell when that agreement ended. Is this just a renewal, or is this something we're extending? Because it didn't state, looking back at 2020, any of those documents either. Looked like it was for 3 years. I don't know if, Pat, you can speak to that, or Supervisor?
2020 agreement, I couldn't speak to.
Or if this is a brand new agreement?
This is piggybacking off of what we did with 2026-183, approving the funding for this work. And now we're actually retaining the services.
Councilmember, we do have a term agreement with Nussbaumer and Clark to help us with technical matters, including assistance with our sanitary sewer collection system, including the pump stations. And what we typically do, if we hire them or ask them to do a particular task, like in this case, they would be going through and doing essentially like a structural assessment or condition assessment of everything within the main pump station and Plant 3. We ask them for a specific proposal for the cost for that task, and then put that before the town board for a vote.
So this is essentially an approval for up to this amount, but nothing's been spent on their service.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, council member? Any other questions from council members? All right. That, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries.
Of our resolution items, we do have some that came in late, so I would need a motion and a second to waive the rules to include resolution items 2026, 443, 444, 445, 446, and 447 to the table. Is there a motion?
I'll offer the motion.
I'll second. Motion by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. All in favor? Aye. Under resolution item 2026-443, excuse me, sponsored by the entire board, except for Councilmember Nowicki, who is not here tonight. Whereas Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865, the day on which the last enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas learned of their freedom more than 2 years after the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth stands a powerful reminder of the enduring pursuit of freedom, equity, justice, and opportunity for all Americans. The board therefore resolves that the town board of the town of Cheektowaga hereby formally honors and celebrates the Juneteenth annually as a community observance, recognizing freedom, resilience, history, and enduring pursuit of liberty and justice for all. The town board hereby establishes the annual Juneteenth celebration and flag raising celebration as an official commemorative observance of the town of Cheektowaga. The intent of the town board of the Juneteenth continue to be observed and commemorated annually through appropriate educational opportunities and community engagement activities. The town board expresses its appreciation to the residents, community organizers, volunteers, and leaders whose efforts contribute to the continued success of the annual Juneteenth celebration in the town of Cheektowaga.
Okay, on the question?
I want to make a comment regarding the Juneteenth flag raising ceremony. Wanted to say thank you to the entire board and also the residents that came out. Last year, we wrote a resolution where a resolution was written and adopted to celebrate the first annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony. And this year, we wanted to do that again and carry on that tradition for the residents and for the town of Cheektowaga. So it was a beautiful ceremony. I wasn't here the last town board meeting, so I wanted to be able to talk about it. So we kind of waited a little bit before we actually introduced the resolution. Again, thank you to the community. Thank you to our supervisor for your continuous support, and thank you.
Council members? I just wanted to add that going forward with the celebration, I think we're going to move it over in front of Town Hall next year and keep it there for the foreseeable future. You know, we had an ad out on social media that drew a pretty good crowd. It's one of those things that we'll work into our annual events like War of 1812 and these other ceremonies that we do that, you know, draw a fair size audience, and we look forward to every spring, every summer. So anyone else on the question? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2026-444, sponsored by Councilmember Thompson, seconded by Supervisor Nowak. Following students have requested to participate in the student internship program at the police department. The students be and hereby are authorized to participate as unpaid interns in the department, subject to final approval by the chief of police and the town attorney. The internships will be effective June 29th, 26 through July 4th, 2026, and they will be in the offices from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day.
All right, on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that carries.
Resolution 2026-445 is sponsored by Councilmember Pilarski, seconded by Councilmember Lewis. Angela Wakalski of Cheektowaga, New York, being and hereby is appointed to position of senior clerk in the Highway Department in accordance with the terms and conditions of the town's collective bargaining agreement with the Town of Cheektowaga Employees Association, effective June 25th, 2026.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2026-446 is sponsored by Supervisor Nowak, seconded by Councilmember Elderkin. The Town of Cheektowaga is self-insuring its health insurance, and whereas a stop-loss insurance is utilized in this process, the Town Board hereby approves the contents of the one-year stop-loss contract with HM Life Insurance Company of New York at the $275,000 specific deductible level. The supervisor being hereby is authorized and directed to execute the contract and any other documents necessary to effectuate the insurance coverage called for under such contract.
Question, this item and the next item are part of regular agreements the town maintains. It just, it's come up at this time for reconsideration. Any other council members? On the all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2026-447 is sponsored by Supervisor Nowak, seconded by Councilmember Elderkin. The Town of Cheektowaga is self-insuring its health insurance with Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York as the administrator and Lawley Insurance as our health broker. The Town Board hereby approves the contents of the two-year administrative services rate with Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York at a cost of $56.66 per person per month as of August 1st, 2026, and increasing 0.9% to $57.16 for 2027. The medical terms for the contract shall be effective as of August 1st, 2026 for the period of 1 year. The supervisor being hereby is authorized and directed to execute the contract and any other documents necessary to effectuate the insurance coverage called for under such contract.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries.
Our resolution items for tonight. Communications received from the town clerk's office since the last meeting include the Traffic Safety Commission of May 19th, Environmental Advisory Committee of May 27th, Conservation Advisory Council, June 10th, Planning Board, June 11th, and the Environmental Advisory Committee of June 24th. General communications include 3 notices of claim.
All right, next up is public comment period. It's an opportunity for residents to comment on matters involving Cheektowaga. Each speaker may speak only once, and each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time. And judging by the crowd that's left, I think these folks are going to have no problem allowing everybody else to speak. I don't want to have to say this over and over again, but please, when somebody comes to this podium, please let them express their views. Let the next person do that. And if you're in the audience, please allow the people that are up here to express their views. I'm going to grab that sheet. Okay, we have 7 signed up for public comment. First would be, we've got Brendan Gilbert.
Thank you, Town Board. Continuing my remarks from earlier, how does Flock ensure that police officers who are subject to a full stay-away order of protection don't use Flock to stalk the people who are protected by that order of protection? I heard Flock here saying your data over and over again, and that tells me that that's our problem to figure out as a town. I don't think that that's going to work out very well, because now we have a town system that enables town employees to disregard the constitutional rights of people protected by a valid New York State court order of protection. What could happen? What could go wrong? A rape, a killing enabled by Flock? And I'm not just talking about the system being in the hands of the police. I'm talking about anyone who could compromise this. Any hacker. Very easy to gain access to a system like this. A lot of people that would have authorized access that could lose it. After that rape, maybe, if something bad happens to one person, it probably won't get the attention of Ben Crump. But I'm sure that if it bleeds, that he'll bring his circus to town and federal district court to examine whether or not this system that the town put in to surveil its whole town helped and enabled a crime to occur. Now, a government that doesn't collect that kind of data doesn't gather risk and liability for misuse of that kind of data. You can't misuse what you don't have. But a government that chooses to collect surveillance data chooses where to collect surveillance data from. Camera installation locations are governmental choices. These choices will have disproportionate impacts on religious and racial minorities. There's a Flock camera 2 blocks east of this Muslim community center on Genesee Street. It's 1 block west of Harlem. Anyone that comes to that center is going to be traveling under that Flock camera on the way there. There's about 18 cases that I brought right here that are ones that Flock hasn't told you about. 5 of them involve lieutenants, detectives, chiefs of police, or sheriffs that either resigned, retired early, or were arrested in disgrace for their misuse of Flock to stalk. Almost always men stalking wives, stalking paramours, hundreds of times, 180 times. There's 13 officers and deputies that are on here, all of whom are disgraced. And these are the cases I can tell you about. Maybe Flock will tell you about this as bad apples that they've rooted out. But the cases that I can't tell you about, because they're too recent, are the cases that they're going to bring as civil cases in district courts about Section 1983 claims and their civil rights, and how the policy, practice, or deliberate omission of their towns led to what happened to them. There were a very reasonable set of people here asking for a civilian review board. You still have the time to do that. You can't pay these settlements with grant money, but if you have some oversight, You could save us, property owners and taxpayers, the money of having our property taxes go up 19% like what happened in Buffalo in order to
Mr.
pay
Gilbert,
that off.
it's been 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Gary Bork?
A few months ago, we paid $275,000 to settle a lawsuit brought against the town of Cheektowaga and some police officers. Do any of you remember voting for that in an open meeting? I don't. I did a FOIL. I asked in my FOIL for copies of all settlements which were approved without open meeting vote. And the response I got back was, there aren't any. Why are there any? Because you're hiding it. You're putting those settlement amounts somewhere in your fund transfers without telling us what they are. You're hiding it from us. Now look over to the town of Amherst. Go over to their website and put in settlements. You'll get 50 of them because they don't hide it from their citizens. After they've entered into a settlement, they put it on a resolution and they vote for it. And they let the citizens know that they've had to pay something. You need to start doing that. I don't know why you're hiding it from us. What, are you afraid of us knowing that these settlements are being made? I'm going to keep filing FOILs and I'm going to keep following these cases and I'm going to keep publicizing them. And when I do that, people look at it and say, why aren't we hearing this from the town board? Why are we hearing this from Gary Bork? That should stop. And you should start voting on those settlements in open meeting so that we are aware of it. Back to the flock data, if I got a minute. I was an attorney for the Treasury Department. Very, very strict controls on access to Treasury Department data. But just a few years ago, a contractor working for the IRS stole 2,000 tax returns, including President Trump's return, and then distributed that to news outlets who, under the First Amendment, are free to publish it. If the IRS can't stop its employees and its contractors from accessing tax returns, how are we going to stop anybody from accessing flock data? It's going to be impossible. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Brian Gould.
Good afternoon again. I'd just like to personally thank the four who voted yes for this resolution. Public safety in this town is a concern. I've seen crime rise while I was a police officer for 23 years here, and we need every tool we can to help keep our residents safe. For those who voted no, I'm sure you have your reason. I'm hopeful that during your closing comments, you can explain to the residents of this town why you voted against a tool that your police department feels they need to keep our residents safe. Lastly, I know I don't make many meetings because I am, I'm just not available to be here most of the time, but I do watch them. It came up at one of the last meetings, a discussion about the casino or building at Lawson Park, Stiglmar Park. I would just like to add in that I ask you to do some research about that. There were recently, within the past couple of years, some work done around that building to help with the foundation and the drainage around that building. So there already has been an investment in the repair. That park is a jewel in that it is almost a nature preserve. Obviously, on the other side, Rhinestone Woods is a nature preserve. I think to dismantle a historic building that can be used 365 days a year, our Winterfest is gaining popularity. It would be so cool to see a fire in that fireplace and to see people in that building and that building being used all year, rather than building a mega shelter that's going to need additional parking, more space in that, more green space in that park removed, and drawing more crowds to an area that we have a jewel that is really a great nature site there. So I would ask you to consider looking into that a little bit different, rather than building another mega shelter that will only be used a couple times a year.
Thank you. Felisa Mitchell.
Hello, board members. Well, I brought some copies of paperwork, research, because I only have a few minutes here. So I'll do this. That was a better idea. So my name is Felicia Mitchell. I'm a property owner, business owner, and nurse in Cheektowaga. I normally do not have time to come to these meetings. My last meeting was my first ever meeting, and I plan on attending these more often now due to the major concern within my community of being spied on by pedophiles. You must now deal with my pain in the ass, and I can tell you I'm going to be a big pain in the ass. Before I begin, I would like to bring to the board members what I have provided you, which is extensive research. Included in those information is a brochure on the major security concerns with the third-party surveillance company Flock. I also included a one-page document of communities that are ending Flock cameras. Next, you'll have one-page document of a case involving a Florida resident who received a Flock camera-generated ticket while in another state. Next, you have a one-page, two-sided document on how to protect your vehicle from key fob relay theft. This is for all my older people. Okay, we can buy a $20 box on Amazon to stop the signal from our key fobs from being stolen. Since we're so big on car thefts, I actually own 2 vehicles that these car thefts are going after, the 392 Motors. My cars have never been stolen. They've never been touched. Every night I put my keys in the key fob box blocker. It shows videos on there on how this works. You can prove that it works by putting your key fob in there, walking up to your car and making sure the doors don't unlock. It's a very good safety, $20 on Amazon. Okay, your last page there is going to be a one-page, two-sided document, community awareness regarding police conduct during encounters with the youth. Last meeting, I told you guys there was a promotion with the chief, was promoted to whatever. Well, I had an encounter with him that was very nasty, and I had no idea he was being promoted. 4 children were falsely arrested, and I put body camera footage on that documentation last page, so you can see how the police officers are out here treating young children, and that could have been anybody's child. My child did not steal that vehicle. He had nothing to do with it, and 4 children were charged, 2 in family court. Okay, it was unacceptable that the town of Cheektowaga didn't want to help me. I got help from family court, Erie County District Attorney. Okay, so I included that body camera footage so you guys can see how roughed up my son got and didn't have any involvement in it. There's QR codes involved throughout for supporting videos, articles, demonstrations. My goal is to inform public safety, privacy, crime prevention, and accountability in our community. I'm here today to demand the town of Cheektowaga to end our contract with Flock. This is our contract. It's not your guys' contract. It's ours. Okay, and Flock is working in partnership with Planeteer, a company who has little values. Planeteer, I might be saying that's wrong, Planeteer is funded by Pierre Thiel. He is one of the richest men in the world. When I hear and see that word, it reminds me of plantation, okay? But we're just gonna let that sit there for a second. This surveillance system was used and tracked.
I don't mean to cut you short.
And murdered
It's been
people
3
overseas.
minutes.
We captured bin Laden with this surveillance system,
You've
okay?
had 3 minutes. Your time is up.
So.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Matthew Ebert. I don't believe Matthew is here. Dave Uzar?
I'll be all over the place here. My wife was showing me something about, and I noticed about the DEC sump pump, what the town is going to have to do. How are they going to come in my house and look in my basement and see if I got? You don't have to let them in your house. And correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. I don't have to let them in my house. How are they going to prove I don't have a sump pump? How are they going to do that? They're going to come on my property? They're going to put a meter outside my house? How are they going to do that? And this town always talks about senior citizens where we're overtaxed now, and you know what it costs to get a sump pump in the basement, especially if it was like my house and I got a finished basement? It cost me a small fortune, and I got to figure out a whole new way to do my basement with my washer, dryer, and everything else down there. So I'm not the only person in this town who's going to run into this problem. And when you go to sell a house, so I think Veronica knows, what is it, 7% they get for for sale of a house, approximate 7%, probably 4,000 to 5,000 to put a sump pump in. What senior citizen is going to afford that? What is the town going to do for these people? That's what I want to know. Are you going to pick up some of the costs? Are they going to pass some resolution to give us a percentage off? And I don't mean no crappy one like 2 and 3%. That ain't nothing, especially for what the houses are selling for in this town and the real estate agents are making and everything else. They very rarely, they do come down on what they do, what they say, 7% on a $200,000 house, that's 140 grand. Okay, and the houses in this town now are going for 340, 360 on Vern Lane. Get serious. Go up around Lawson, and they're in the 400. There's some on Borden Road and some on Lawson. They're going for $500,000. So 7% on that. I lived in this town, like some of these people like to say. I've been in it 72 years, and every house we lived in, I believe, had a sump pump, except the one I live in now. Why wasn't it mandated a long time ago to put a sump pump in? Why? You got contractors, and I've lived here since 1953, and that house was built in 52 that I lived in. Maybe it was 53, I'm not sure. But another thing, who's in charge of the lights around here? The lights, the street lights, the town, right? Okay, Tuesday, before the last meeting, they came out onto my street. I says, what are you doing here? Oh, we're going to mark this and cut some of the trees. Whoa, wrong guy to tell that to. These guys said, don't worry, I'll watch what I'm doing. He said, why are you doing this? He said, the light don't work. We got a work order, the light don't work. You want to see a picture after last Tuesday meeting? I went home purposely and took a picture of that, the numbers on the pole. It took me almost 6 years to get a light pole changed in front of my house. Where this light is, there's nothing. Gatsangu, Noah, nothing. There's nothing. Nobody lives at that part of the street. So who reported a light out? That's what I want to know. I want to see that form. The guy ain't going to show it to me. So who reported this light out? I want to know. It's not in front of my house. There's no residence down where this light is out. I know my time's probably up, but too bad. I didn't say it.
Oh, come on.
I caught myself again.
Just wrap up that thought and then.
Excuse me?
Well, you did wrap that up. I'm digging my own grave with you.
Oh, no, nobody else got extra time. I don't deserve it.
All right, thank you. Wally Carriero.
I want to thank most of you for making a sensible decision in protecting the citizens of the town. It's a good choice. It's the right choice. And we're going to continue to push for safety and security because that's what Cheektowaga should be about. It should be a place where you want to raise your children. It should be a place where you want your grandchildren to live. It should not be the place of stolen vehicles and coffee shops and smoke shops. It should be a place that we are happy to walk down the street. You look at East Aurora, they have movies being recorded in East Aurora almost every year. Why? Why? Small village. Why can't we be a small village? We ain't that big. We only have 89,000 residents. We don't have that many square miles. It's what you expect from people is what you are going to receive from people. Now, when we talk about the fact that it's great that we go and, tear up 2 inches of blacktop on our roads and then lay 2.5 inches on top, that's a wonderful thing until 5 years goes by and you got so much blacktop on the road that when we get a heavy rain, the water just comes right off of Genesee Street and creates a river on Dick Road. But it's okay because Dick Road is a county road, but I pay my Cheektowaga taxes. I have drain receivers that have never been cleaned. We've never seen a street cleaning vehicle come down my road, but yet I still get a full tax bill. So there are plenty of things in this town that we need to address, and I agree with the police department. If we're going to be safe, we're going to be secure, we're going to rid the town of crime, the rest of those things will follow. My final thought. Seeing that we did such a poor job planning the 250th birthday of our country, I think maybe we should consider a time capsule and put a flock camera in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wally. Moving on to council members' comments. Yes. Can you leave, please? Please leave.
I'm gonna leave, but I pay a lot of taxes, so I'll leave when I wanna leave.
Madam Council President.
I don't know, he's rude, I don't like him.
Shouldn't be difficult. That we give you your time, you listen to us, we listen to you, and that's probably a good place to start this comment, is that I do believe we all listen to you. And on the flock cameras tonight, resolution put in front of us, it's an up and down issue. And I cast the vote that I vote, and there are a lot of folks that came to us and expressed the concerns with the technology and why they had concerns with the technology. There's also a lot of folks that came to us that talked about the benefits of that technology. And I've learned more about it, and I continue to see the benefits of it. I think there's a world 5-10 years out into the future where automatic license plate readers are expanded beyond what we have now. And quite frankly, I think that is going to be a benefit for public safety. But it can also be done in a way where we're addressing the civil liberties concerns that get brought up. I think it was former Chief Gould that raised the balance between security and liberty. And I think we're all a lot closer on that than it would sound in our comments. You know, without pointing to specific folks, I can think folks that were arguing on the pro side that I know that they understand the other side of that, and folks that were passionately against them that are thinking about the safety aspect of them. But again, we get the resolution that's in front of us, the information that we have. I've sponsored these resolutions previously. There's things I'd like to see changed. I'm sure they will be. And quite honestly, you're going to see me supportive of this stuff in the future, and I'm not going to apologize for that. We can balance safety and security. We have before. We'll continue to do it, but I think we've got a little bit of work to do to clear things up a little bit more, let me say. And I do think we've made some progress since the beginning of this public discussion relating to flock on moving in the right direction of that. So that's what I've got on flock. There are people that want these cameras. We may not see them here, but when I go out in the community and talk to people, I get to hear from them. Oftentimes people are very comfortable coming up here. Sometimes they'll pull me aside and say, "Hey, Brian, can I tell you this without anyone else listening?" And there's a fair amount of that. So my job is to balance all these things. The casino building, my starting point on that is to do exactly what was mentioned, to rehab that to its former glory. It's one of those projects that we still don't have an answer to. I am happy to move ahead with restoring that as it is. It will cost more dollars. And if this board is committed to doing that, we just need to give direction to our Parks Department, to our Engineering Department, that that's the preference. And we also need to understand that may come with change orders. Councilman Pilarski's been around long enough to see what happens when we get some change orders, right? That I'm not saying this thing's gonna cost us $2 million. It's just once you open up something like that, it may cost us a little bit more than we anticipate because some of the unexpected issues. That's not a reason not to do it. It's just something to know up front. If we're talking about leveling and building a new structure, that's something that you can get to the precise cost a little more easy. So on that casino building, we should take up this issue between meetings and get to that, just get a final answer on that one, and then really move ahead on what to do with that. As I said previously, we do have money from county set aside to act on how we would want to act on that. We've got upcoming festivities for the 4th of July on July 3rd. It's a Friday this year, starting at 5:30 in Town Park. We're going to have an opening ceremony. We're going to have live music from the band Impact, and thank you to them for performing in Town Park again. We're going to have food trucks, and when the sun goes down, we're going to have fireworks. With COVID and some of the changes that have happened in the town, we had a couple lull years with this July 3rd festival, the Freedom Fest. It's really picking up in the last couple of years. I think we're going to get a good crowd for this coming July 3rd. The parade is the next day on Saturday the 4th, 12 o'clock. We're still accepting registrants for that. They've been coming in, and if you'd like, you or your group would like to march in the 4th of July parade, please reach out to my office, or you can reach out to the council members that are working on that, and we can get you set up to be part of the parade. And as mentioned earlier, once the parade will begin at the Thruway Plaza, it's going to end at the Harlem Road entrance to Cheektowaga Town Park. On the 4th, we're going to have some food trucks, a little bit of live music there as well. Besides that, actually, that's all I've got. Why don't we switch it up this time and go over to Councilmember Eldrick and sweep over the other side.
Okay, I just made a couple notes as we were. There is nuance with the ALPR. It is a tool. I've been consistent in saying it's a tool. It's morally neutral. I don't have an issue with it as a tool. I have an issue with the current guardrails, but I do think we're making progress with open communication, but we do need to do more progress. My specific concerns are when it was brought to the attention how open the data was to other organizations. It was restricted. It's still open to the bordering states. But I do feel that there need to be more restrictions for people, more oversight, basically, in the access to the data. Multiple comments tonight said, if you vote no, you're for crime and chaos. I'll let my record stand for itself. I support the police. This particular guardrails for this tool, I have more of an issue with. I agree with a good deal of what Chief Gould stated. I just draw a different conclusion. That's my remarks on the flock. I'll finish up. I just want to thank Councilmember Lewis for her hard work on the Juneteenth celebration. Again, it was a beautiful flag raising.
Kowski.
I am, in reference to flock, our police force and our chief right now is doing a fine job, and I am full support of the policies and whatever procedures that they have in place. So I voted yes because it's a good tool. It's been proven on what they have done. Just recently, a 24-year-old young lady got kidnapped downtown, and because of the cameras, they were able to find her and saved her. So thank you, Chief, and all the police for what you do every single day. Last week, Sunday, we had our War of 1812. I want to thank everybody who participated, who were involved. The Cheektowaga Police Honor Guard was there. The Donovan Post Rifle Team was there. And it just went very, very well. And I thank every participant, and especially the Facilities Department, for all their hard work and getting things set up and organized. The Senior Center has started their summer concerts on Tuesdays. So yesterday was the opening night, and it was a polka band called Seven, and it was a really great time. And there is every Tuesday, next will be July 7th, and Crash Cadillac's going to be there. Also in Griffith Park in Sloan, they're going to be starting their summer concerts, and tomorrow, June 25th, from 7 to 9 is Crash Cadillac opening up there. And that's it.
Councilmember Thompson?
Hopefully this is one of the last times that we have resolution for flock, part of the discussion. I like to think that the chief and the police department knows that at least myself can trust the expert in that field to make that decision, such as we have a resolution to hire an engineering firm for their skill set. We're trusting them to make an informed decision. As far as the privacy, I've touched on this before with the Fourth Amendment violations, but I don't know how we can pick and choose which amendments we are offended by or we don't agree with. What about the Second Amendment? I mean, everybody talks about that and go against it clearly. I mean, but that's no issue. You know, nobody has a problem with that because it's for safety. We're saving lives. But this does the same thing. So I don't know. It's, I guess, hard to comprehend sometimes, but thank you to our police staff for what you do. And that's all I have for now.
Councilmember Lewis.
So first, I want to say thank you to the residents for raising their concerns when it comes to Flock. Chief, you must have been in my notes because I clearly said my position is that public safety and civil liberties can coexist. And also public safety and public trust must move together. I believe, and this is after conversations with the chief, this is after one-on-one conversations with Flock, that Cheektowaga does own the data. I'm not opposed to technology that helps solve crimes and protect residents, but it has to be used properly. In addition to that, I know some of our residents mentioned Civilian Review Board. When I ran for office, I mentioned citizen advisory councils. And after my conversation with the chief, we do want to move forward with that. And we will be reaching out to members of our community to, you know, be on those councils, but with police oversight. We're not here to tell the police department exactly what to do. We're here to work in tandem with them to come up with solutions that will make our community safer. If you know anything about me, you know I'm going to advocate, I'm going to do my research, and I'm going to say things that I believe is fair to our community at large. So with that, we'll be moving on, and I hope that we have the support of not just our police department, but also our board members to be able to have the Citizen Advisory Council to be able to, you know, answer some questions that the residents have. I also want to again say thank you to those who participated in our second annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony. And again, thank you for the resolution that was drafted to be able to hold this celebration annually. Kind of got a little emotional when it was passed because it's not about a moment. It's about history. It's about what we can continue to do when we move together. And also on, let's see, I believe it's the 12th. I do know Texas Roadhouse will be having a family fun day. I'll be one of the sponsors for that. It's free to attend. We have touch trucks from the Cheektowaga Police Department, also the fire department. It's going to be a great time. If you all know, those roads are amazing. So please come down there. It's from 11:30 to 3:30, and also our July 4th celebration. So thank you all again.
Thank you. Councilmember Pilarski.
So sometimes you're presented with a very difficult, you know, topic, you know, half the group is this way, half the group's the other way. And you're presented by the public, you know, different views of it based off their experiences, based off the research. Now, depending on the agenda, you may be presented things different way. We've received a ton of facts, you know, both sides of it all, how it protects the community and also how it's abused. Like anything, a tool can be abused. And I go back to saying, you know, if it was my daughter that was kidnapped or my wife that was kidnapped, 30 minutes would seem like 30 days. So Barb Bukowski, Councilmember Bukowski mentioned earlier how a woman was kidnapped downtown Buffalo and found, you know, here in Cheektowaga, Thruway Plaza. If you didn't know it was in Cheektowaga, they found her, and flock cameras were used. But we're looking at this, and I'm also seeing that, hey, we've got a chief of police that abused their powers and stalked an ex-girlfriend.
Guys, I need everyone in the audience to be quiet.
We'll see where patrolmen or women have abused it, chief of police. It may sound bad, but until something like that presents itself to where it was abused and I have reservation on it, I'm supporting flock cameras. I don't see our chief of police stalking his ex-girlfriend, and if he does, then our town's data does not show that. So I believe in flock cameras as a tool to help our police solve crimes and get to the bottom of the issue and keeping our community safer. And that's why I voted for the flock cameras. And I'll continue to do so until I see an abuse in that. And I will have to address it, how was it addressed? How will it be addressed in the future? Or do we put bags over them? Those are the way, we'll address that when we come across that bridge. Now going into events, we had some great events. War of 1812, great event, council member. I heard all great things. Great Juneteenth event by Councilmember Lewis and the rest of the team. And like Councilmember Bukowski mentioned, the senior center has some concerts, and the youth program will also have some concerts coming up. It wasn't in our budget this year, but legislator Tim Myers have come through with some county funding to help support that with $9,000. And our youth and rec department will be releasing that schedule very soon within the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that for some more summer activities. Like the supervisor mentioned, we have openings and spots available for the parade. If your group, whether it's a youth group, religious group, organization, place of employment, labor union, whomever, would like to march in the parade, there's still room to sign up. It's on our website. And we'll ask the town's clerk to put it back on the front page again to find it within the next week. Sign up sooner than later. And going back to tough decisions here, I know no matter what this town board does, they're going to catch slack for 4th of July. Wasn't enough. I know Councilmember Bukowski and Councilmember Lewis here have been working hard to get some entertainment after the parade and some food vendors there, because usually we'd come into the parade at Town Park and it ends right there. You grab your stuff and go. So they've been working around the clock and working hard for it. But there's also a fine line. How much are you going to spend on it? We don't have a blank check here. We could have brought in all kinds of entertainment. We could have done another round of fireworks. We could have done the biggest drone show. But with that comes a price tag. And it's tough because you get some residents speaking out of this side saying, hey, we shouldn't have pools open because it's only for 10 weeks. But then that same resident will speak out of this side saying, let's have the biggest 250th anniversary and just piss away a lot of money. It's tough to juggle that. So luckily we have 7 members up here, try to make the best of what they have and make something good out of it. And there's no doubt in my mind that this group up here is making the best for July 4th and the 250th. We actually have 2 nights of activities. We have the 3rd and then the actual activities on the 4th with the parade and music afterwards. So come support it. Parade kicks off at noon and we'll see you there.
With that, I am going to offer a motion to enter executive session to discuss discipline of a particular person and also for attorney-client. I'll offer the motion. Is there a second? Second from Councilmember Pulaski. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned with no action to follow.